we all experience creativity that might not manifest, or it changes form, or we get led in a completely different direction. That's so completely normal and natural.
Unlocking those secret hidden places that have lived within the psyche and the cellular biology and the soul imprint of a woman, of a human.
When we get together, the four of us, magic just happens. So I can't wait to just be a part of that and be able to share what goes on behind this.
Being able to cooperate with women at this level is incredible for, and frankly, uncommon for many women my age and even older.
Any woman with a little witchy woo, or on the side of dropping into the more light divinity, understands that 3 is a very mystical number.
The feeling of the celebration of that, and also the coming together in the community of women, not coming together because we need to be saved or we need to save each other, but really coming in this beautiful collaboration and community where we are coming in powerful as ourselves. It was a very open space to be direct with each other, direct with ourselves, and very honest about what felt good, what didn't feel good, what didn't make sense. There were meltdowns in the way of us processing what was going on in our own lives as we came together, but nothing that collapsed the process, nothing that collapsed us as a group.
We were dancing with everybody's intuition to find that which really rose and resonated the most for us as a group, and the transcendent piece of whatever the spirit of tapestry.
Sometimes you sit down at the wheel to make what you think is going to be a mug, but when hands meet clay, that's not always what happens. I still, to this day, have no regret that the event never happened, because for me, it did. It happened in the creation of these assets. I think in a lot of ways, that's ultimately what we were inviting women into with the Golden Gala, was like this co-creative experience that we are like actually embodying and practicing right here, right now. Often what we think something should look like is sometimes what we attach ourselves to, but ultimately what we're trying to create, I think, is the feeling, the sensation of what that was.
When you're in that creative process, you really, I mean, you can get attached, but you have to learn not to, because anything can happen to it. You get led in a different direction, like a mug becomes a bowl, or it gets destroyed in the kiln.
As an older woman who it changes as we navigate menopause and are ripening into a different stage of life, I find my approach to creativity is much different. Here is a younger woman coming in full recognition of her elders, in full honoring, and with a very open desire to, the word I have is grok. It's like to just absorb the wisdom and the maturity and the movement and the voice of the elders in her field.
Each and every one of us gave ourselves permission to step into our own creative power without fear of like stepping on someone's toes or offending them. No means grow. Let that grow you. Letting go to let grow is part of the, I guess, the mantra that came out of all of this work. AI has taught me how to refine my language and my communication in ways to really like anchor that ultimate message that I know is coming through in the intuitive aspects.
In the true essence of tapestry, it is a beautiful work of art, first of all. And tapestry was founded upon the artistry of a woman, and her artistry is how she builds her business, how she loves the people in her life, how she actually literally creates art, how she structures the movements in her day, being the foremothers of a new feminine consciousness on the planet, is gorgeously reflected in that magazine.
If it stays up here, there's no home for the women to actually come to and have the experience. So that bridging aspect is so important, and the grounding of it into the real world is vital. It has to be physical. It has to be soma. It has to be Gaia. It has to be in the earth and in the soil. Each of us separately, of course, are cycling on our own cyclical nature, but then the container also has a cycle. The container also has a cycle. It's not just in creation all the time. What most women don't understand is that is a really good way to blow out your nervous system and to blow out your health, your mental, physical, emotion, spiritual, whatever it is, by being in summer all the time and never going into fall and winter. It's like our systems, our body is not designed to just keep growing a baby. Like we just keep growing the baby and we never have the baby. So our body is not designed to do that. So at some point you have to birth the baby, and then you have the next season that follows that, where it's not growth season.
This isn't the airy fairy, yes, we want to do the thing and it will all be provided. We were measuring and we were balancing, as we still do, the action with the softness. I'm an architect. Like, I see my energy and I am an architect. I build and I understand how you create that structure from the root up. Studying with Carolyn Myss 20 years ago, she was teaching, you must become the mystic without a monastery. No longer are we going to hide ourselves away in seclusion from the physical reality.
Any hurricane is a significant event, and we have chickens. And I was out in the middle of the storm taking care of chickens, but it was 90-mile-an-hour winds and gusts for hours on end. And it's relentless. And the feeling of that, and the feeling of it in your home, the relentless, like, bam, is really, it's very stressful. And so taking care of chickens, we had a very large metal building, 20 by 30 building that collapsed in the process of this. This is bad. This is an account I've had since 2007. And specifically over the last 6 years of moving from, I was mostly in-person practice from like 2015 to 2018. And in 2018, I started going into the online world. And so I've been working for 6 years on this account, just curating it and cultivating it and nurturing it and growing it and creating a space. The grief and the overwhelm of losing something like that in an instant was just devastating.
The all of structure that you had in place has now become dismantled, right? So that's the state of energy, of tenderness in your heart, of exposure to all the elements.
Slowing down has been one of the most life-changing things. In slowing down, looking at all the places where I was rushing to do things, where I was like, I have to be constantly going, got to be constantly moving, got to be constantly putting stuff out. The completion for me was, we need to wipe away what you have built because it's not congruent with what you're here to build. Allowing the actual seasons and the actual cycles to happen, and just building the new foundation, which now there are pieces that are in place that will support me for years to come. It's all worth it.
Beautiful. And that theme of foundation will come up again.
There's something about the land, which evolved into where and how a woman lands in her own body. We're building a gala on a foundation that actually doesn't exist. The brakes were pressed to the floor all of a sudden, and they were not my brakes. They were the breaks coming through tapestry, quietly whispering, this is not what I want. This is not what's next. We were being called to become more intimate with that. And much like Amy's Facebook experience, it was almost like a letting go of what tapestry we are in service to this energy and to this whispering, and it doesn't have to make sense. And we actually don't have to like it. Consciousness has shifted. Women, I need you to be able to pivot into the unknown, blind in the feminine void of new creation, and I need you to trust it.
Serve the music. Serve the music. That's what all of this is about.
It's not just about forcing you back into your own body and in connection with the land. It's also in that land receiving you and calling back. It's a relationship.
There are two magics, and I would even say three, as I've just listened to all three of you. And Amy, I wrote down for you the grace you were able to hold in the midst of the chaos. There's never nothing going on. I really wanted this to happen, and I wanted to be in a space with the three of you, like all of us, co-creating. We have held the richness and the luster and the life-giving energy of this feminine blood that is meant to be birthed and spilled on the planet. This is the foundation. We knew, we didn't know what it looked like. We didn't know where it was going, but we knew we had to honor the death. And we have, and we do. And the birthing is here.
We are the initiation.
This is the initiation. Well done, ladies. You passed the initiation for the landing of the energy of tapestry and the foundation that will now be built on that energy.
There is something to be said about the honoring of what has come to pass and the end and the beginning of something, like the transitionary stage.
When you serve what's in front of you, it naturally leads you back to where you actually need to be. Like to humanize our process and to also highlight the reverence of the process of the feminine flow of creation. It's a very real world example of what it has been to follow the next right step and then surrender over and over again to what's coming through. Despite our protests in the background, to be safe in our lack of understanding. Because we are grounded in the truth of, in the trust of what we're following.
Business women can still and will be more effective in bringing through our medicine when we do so landed in our body, landed in our medicine, and understanding how we land that on the planet. That's your superpower as a woman. That's your foundation. All of us this year, as I have watched, not only have given tapestry foundation, each one of us has deepened into our woman, which then becomes the unique blueprint, signature, foundation, build of what we are for. Connect with your women as the woman you are. Trust even when you don't know. Allow the unraveling. And just let it all. You have a depth of holding women that we need in this world.